And this one is called That Old Silk Hat They Found, and it is my dark humor Frosty the Snowman story. A cool wind kisses me. Little by little, the sensation rises, it becomes more real. The soft, light breeze becomes an intense, encompassing cold. But the cold doesn't hurt me, it soothes me. It feels good, comfortable. Relaxed in the darkness, I realize that my eyes are closed. What am I saying? I realize for the first time that I have eyes. I open my eyes to see the world through some sort of charcoal gray lens, but despite the blurry gray haze, I can make out a white landscape and figures moving off in the distance. Running and cavorting, their shouts are muffled. I can barely hear them. I can barely see, I can barely hear, but I do have life. It's an incredible feeling, almost overwhelming. I don't really understand who or what I am, but having life feels good. Knowing that I exist and that I can sense and feel is wonderful. I try to move, but I can't. I look down. No! I don't have legs, just this big round mass. I look to my sides, my arms are mere sticks. They flail uselessly in the wind. Who created me? Who gave me this cruel life? Was it those kids who frolic so joyfully in the snow? It must have been. They're the only ones here. Can't they see what a horrid creature they've conjured? Can't they tell what a torture this life is that they have given me? Hey! A voice calls to me. Who is it that addresses me? Certainly not the children, for they're still ignoring me. The voice sounds different, much clearer and closer than the voices of the kids. My eyes scan the landscape. Hey you, newcomer! Finally my eyes spot the owner of the voice. He is one like me off to my left. I can see he's like me because instead of legs and feet, his bottom is a large white mass of snow. He's built like 3 large balls stacked one upon another. There's a scarf wrapped around his neck. He has dark lumps for eyes, a carrot nose, 2 sticks like mine bobbing in the wind, and several tiny stones in a line which form a horridly ironic grin. I try to respond, but I can't make a sound. Don't even try to speak. You can't. They didn't give you a mouth, the other one says. They didn't give me a mouth? Feeble arms, no legs, no mouth. What evil creatures they must be. Why even bother to give me life then? Welcome to the world, Frosty. Frosty? Is that my name? Did they at least give me a name? I wonder what's the name of my companion. In case you're wondering, my name is Frosty too. For the most part, even if they do name us, we're all called Frosty at one time or another. I guess this is supposed to be a funny name or for a snowman or something. But for the sake of personality, you can call me Old Timer. I've been alive for ages now. Can you believe that I'm 4 weeks old? Jeez, where's the time go? Well, since you're new, I'll give you the lowdown. God, it's so good to be able to talk to someone again. Do you know, I've been alone now for almost 2 weeks. Just then a child runs up to Old Timer. Hey now, Old Timer says, get your paws off me. The child doesn't even notice, laughs, grabs at his nose. Yeah! Old Timer's scream cuts through my head. I can almost feel his pain as the child wrenches the nose free and runs, laughing through the snow. Another child, upset, chases after him, determined to get the carrot back. Old Timer is quiet for a moment. I wonder if he's okay. I wonder if he's still alive. I wonder if they create us just to torture us. Stupid little brat, Old Timer says. The anguish is clear in his voice. I'm okay now, it hurts, but not so bad as I imagined it was for Sammy. Sammy? Who's Sammy? Sammy was my last companion. He stood not 4 feet from where you are now, and if you think I'm old, he'd been around from the beginning of time. He was the one who explained to me all about what being a snowman means. Do you want to hear it? Well, since you can't speak and you can't object, you're going to have to hear it. If you haven't already guessed, humans created us. We're created merely for their pleasure. For what little I've learned of humans, they do this quite often. They create all kinds of creatures merely to use as they see fit and to dispose of in a likewise manner. Sammy told me stories of them breeding creatures merely to eat or to keep as what are called pets. I guess we're like pets, except we can't do much more than stand here. At least their other pets have the freedom to roam around. You see this yellow stain at the bottom of my right side? It's a gift from one of their little pets called Spike. But what nerve, eh? What gall to automatically assume ownership of another species, to create another being, and then destroy it for their own pleasure. Old Timer is silent again, and it's then that the child who took off after the one with the carrot returns, triumphantly holding the carrot up high. She returns to Old Timer and sinks the carrot into his face. He grunts as she does this. Then the girl turns and looks across at me. She frowns, turning her head to the side. She mutters something and walks forward. I've never known such fear, such dread. She's coming at me and I can't do anything about it. Trying desperately to cringe and shrink back, I close my eyes and I wish I could at least scream. Her finger sinks into the front of my face. I can feel a painful warmth tearing into me. It becomes a burning sensation, incredibly intense. I feel as if my head's going to explode in a bright burst of white light. A scream, louder than the one Old-Timer made a few minutes ago, rings in my head. It goes on and on and on until Old-Timer yells, "For Pete's sake, cut it out, would ya?" The screaming is coming for me. I try to stop the noise and sure enough it stops. I open my eyes to find the little girl smiling up at me. She wasn't hurting me intentionally, she was melting me a mouth. "Thank you," I say to her, but she's oblivious. She begins dancing around me and singing, but it makes no sense. She sings about a happy, jolly snowman. Her song confuses me. How the hell can a snowman be jolly? "Hey," I say to Old-Timer. "So, now you have a mouth. I know it must have hurt like a bugger, but it's good you can talk. Sammy said it was important for us to be able to talk." "Why is that?" "Because we have a legacy to pass along. We're created and can do nothing about our existence. But if we can speak, then we can at least pass along stories to one another. So we have an oral tradition to uphold. We pass along speculative tales of what's to come." Of what's to come? What's he talking about? I have to ask. What happened to Sammy? He was torn apart, tortured, smashed to pieces by a gang of kids. It was horrible watching them do it. Listening to his screams, it was so far the worst experience I've ever faced. Except, of course, for being completely alone these last 2 weeks. A muffled yell cuts through Old-Timer's speech. I look to see a group of kids approaching. The girl dancing around me runs in the opposite direction as the gang nears. I recognize the leader as the one who pulled Old-Timer's nose off. "Here it comes," Old-Timer says. "Finally, our salvation." Our salvation? What are you talking about? The first of the kids arrived, kicking a large chunk of snow from Old-Timer. A second kid starts throwing punches. A third kid tears into him, ripping away huge chunks of snow. All along, Old-Timer wails and screams. It's more terrible than he described. There's nothing I can do. I look about and see, in the direction the girl ran, a larger group of kids coming. "Hey, Old-Timer," I yell, "hang in there. It looks like help is on the way." He moans, "Help, no, I'm almost free." What are you talking about? Punches and kicks send snow flying in all directions. Old-Timer speaks between screams, moans, and grunts. "If you think this is a bad way to die..." He cuts off for a moment, his voice drowned in an anguished wallow. What could be worse? I can barely see him now through the flailing arms and legs. The little girl and her gang are getting closer, yelling something. Will they arrive in time to save my friend? Before he died, Sammy told me about the apocalypse. The apocalypse? Yes, the slowest, most painful death you can imagine, when everything melts. They call it spring. Just pray that you're not around. There's a long pause as he fights to summon up his last words. When spring comes. The second group of kids arrive and quickly chase the others off with a barrage of snowballs and yells. But it's too late. When they clear the area, you see Old-Timer. He's nothing now but a pile of snow with a few broken sticks, some stones, and his scarf. He has found his salvation. The kids fuss over the pile of snow and then turn their attention to me, long enough to add Old-Timer's scarf to my neck. They chat for a bit and then leave me to solitude. Time passes, I can't even cry. My eyes cast fervently across the fields of snow. My fear is that I'll spot some children off in the distance beginning the ritual of building another snowman. I don't think I could even bear to watch. I yearn for the mean kids to return, to smash me down the way they destroyed Old-Timer. At least it was quick. I'm remembering when the little girl melted me a mouth and how the burning sensation was the worst I had ever felt. I don't think I can even imagine what it'll be like when spring comes and I slowly melt down to nothing. Now all I can do is sit here and wait, and wonder if the torture of melting will be much worse than the agony of knowing now that spring is inevitable. So, see, spring isn't all good. So thanks, guys.
From the sky of heaven.